Good morning, peeps. Welcome to Wait, no, wrong show. Sorry. Welcome to day 11 of our Learning from Home experience. I hope you're all having a triumphant Tuesday. This day 11 video is an ELA video designed to help us with our learning packet for today. Today's focus is going to be on coding a text. Now, we've worked on this skill a bit in our classroom, but coding a text is a skill or a strategy that we use to help us really understand the nonfiction text. Sometimes when we're reading nonfiction, there can be so much information on the page that it can get a little bit confusing, almost making our head spin. Whew. So we're going to give ourselves a strategy today that's going to help us break down our nonfiction text and really understand what we read. Again, this is going to be our code a text strategy. Our first step is going to be to read. We're going to read the text. After we read, we're going to think about what we read. What do I think? What do I remember? And our last step is going to be where we get to choose a symbol. And here are some of those symbols that show our thinkings. Maybe as we read and we think, we say, hey, this is some new info. This is something I didn't know before. We can use our exclamation point symbol. Maybe as we read, we find that we have a question like, I wonder why that's happening, or I wonder how that happens. You might use a question mark as your symbol. Our next symbol is our infinity sign or our connection symbol. This we use when we read something that reminds us of something that we've maybe seen before in a different text, something that's happened to us before in our real life, or something we just know. Again, this is a chance for us to make that connection. This reminds me of. And our last symbol is our star. This is where we find and read something that we feel is really important. It's important info. So again, we have 4 symbols to choose from. Exclamation point for new info, question mark for a question, infinity sign for a connection. You can just think of drawing an 8 sideways. And our star for something that we feel is important. I'd like to now show you guys a little bit of me using that strategy and coding a little bit of a text. Sound good? Okay. In your learning package today, we're going to be focusing on our day 11 activity. This is where you guys get to kind of do your thing. I'm just going to open up my packet here. And so inside of our white learning packet here, I see day 11, code a text. And on this day 11, they're going to be asking you to do a little bit of coding. We're going to have a chance to read some pages from that nonfiction text Tarantula we saw earlier in this packet. As we read this text by Terry Patterson, we're going to stop and follow the steps to code on these pages with at least 2 symbols from our chart. Now, as you guys are making your codes, you're going to have a chance to draw your symbols right on your page as you stop and think about your text, okay? So I'm going to bring my chart right over here just so I have something to kind of look back at. And I'm going to do a little bit of reading here on our first page. We have pages 3 and 4. Leaving you guys with a chance to do some coding on your own using the readings on page 5 and 6, okay? So I'm going to start here on pages 3 and 4. Well, the first thing I see on page 3 of this nonfiction text is I see the table of contents. So let me read that first. I see introduction, where tarantulas live, hard, hairy bodies, eating and being eaten. That makes me think. I've never heard of anyone eating tarantulas, so I'm going to put a little bit of a question mark there. I wonder what kind of thing eats tarantulas? So there's me using one of my codes. I read, I thought, and then I chose a symbol. In this case, I chose the question mark because I had a question. What eats tarantulas? How safe are tarantulas? And the glossary. Alrighty. Now I'm going to start reading here on our page 4. Again, taking my time to read, think, and then choose a symbol as I code this text. Here I go. Introduction. What's huge and hairy and has fangs that can kill? It's the biggest spider in the world, the tarantula. Whoa, let me pause for a moment. I knew tarantulas were pretty big. I knew that they were, a little hairy and had fangs. I didn't know that they were the biggest in the world. So I'm going to put an exclamation point right over here. I did not know tarantulas were the biggest spider in the world. I knew they were pretty big. I didn't know the biggest. So that's me choosing a symbol. I could go on to read using this diagram. Looks like this one is a Goliath bird-eating spider. Whoa. Do you know, there are at least 800 different kinds of tarantulas. The biggest kind can grow up to 12 inches. Whoa, I did not know that. So again, because I found some new info, I would code this with another exclamation point. So that's an example of me using my code the text strategy. I read, I thought, and then I chose a symbol. You all are going to have a chance to do this exact same skill, again, using day 11 in your learning packet. You'll be able to read the pages I just read on 3 and 4, and you'll even be able to go to the following pages on 5 and 6. Again, use those codes to show your thinking. If you have any questions about the text or about today's video lesson, feel free to send me a message on Dojo. Feel free to hit me up on Google Classroom. Otherwise, I will talk to you all soon. Peace.